No one looks in the mirror and goes, I'm just okay today.
And I'm okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what we're striving for. Nor I don't think that's what we're supposed to strive for.
But AJ, I mean, some people don't have it in them. That is a lot. I'm trying to reach to the person that right now, it's everything just to get out of bed.
People get used to just feeling mediocre
Yes.
and think that's okay, and then they lose motivation, they lose energy. And we were talking about know what your values are, because that helps with our motivation, and I think that's critical.
Welcome. This is part of a 3-part podcast we shot previously. I sit down with a couple of guys I'm really proud I got a chance to talk to. I learned a lot from Jose Maresma and Paramedic Lieutenant Breen. Both come with extensive history and credentials in exercise physiology, nutrition, life coaching, and just overall holistic performance. We cover a range of topics that probably we've never touched on in our organization, but I'm happy that we're finally having these conversations. I got a lot from it, I learned a lot, and I hope the same will be true for you. So sit back and enjoy. Last week about exercise consistency, but before we start with the consistency, how does a person start? You got CrossFit, you have all these different disciplines, right? Then you say compound lifting, right? This is the Weider system for people in my age group. And, squats, deadlifts, bench, military press.
Got your compound movements.
Get your compound movements,
your
bro
compound,
lifting.
Yeah.
What's the right way?
Man, that's a complex question.
Yeah, there are a lot of variables there. So first thing, think of exercise as medicine. When your muscles contract, they produce proteins and hormones
Exercise
that actually,
is medicine.
it raises the level inside. It's a challenge too. It's a hormetic stress. What does not kill you makes you stronger. And so we need to challenge our bodies, because literally it's a signal to your body that you weren't good enough. Your body will respond by saying, let's get better. And it will make more muscle tissue. It'll actually teach your nervous system to fire in a more organized way, in a quicker way. So we're challenging our body, something that naturally used to happen. Here's the problem. We sit in cars, we sit in front of computers all the time. We're not challenging our bodies any longer. Watch a kid. They won't stop moving, right? Because they're intuitive and they know what their bodies need.
You think we've become more cerebral though?
Oh yeah, we're in our heads all the time. We spend, there's 90% down here, but we spend all of our time up in here in the thinking and analyzing, and that's great. But remember, you got the rest of the system here. You make your muscles contract, your brain is sharper. It actually produces something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That actually is miracle grow for your brain. Why? Because under stress, we're learning things, and we're survival mechanisms and that kind of thing. So it has so many byproducts. It's the best antidepressant that exists by far. And studies done at Duke University that 30 minutes of walking was as effective as top brand antidepressants in the first 6 months.
Interesting.
Post 6 months, 500 times more effective. Yeah. These are clinical studies that prove exercise is vital.
Not just to piggyback off of that 30 minutes of walking also drastically changed patients' outcomes with cardiac disease.
Sure.
And the prevention of cardiac, just walking.
Just walking.
Yes.
Just
so
walking.
People are like, I've got to get in there and I've got to do all this. I got to do crazy exercise to be healthy. I'm like, no. Just go walk outside for 30 minutes.
So that's the start.
Okay, that's
move every day.
Just move every day.
Move every day.
Walk every day.
You guys are making it easy. So move every day.
That's it.
So
start there.
Because we've all seen CrossFit. It looks painful. People are like, nope, not for me.
It's so fun.
So you like CrossFit?
I love it. You know what? And I like talk about foot and mouth, because I fought CrossFit.
I remember
for years. I'll never do that crazy stuff. Yeah. And then John Longden and Matt Watkins turned me onto it. And I will never go back to just traditional weightlifting ever again.
Is that in the Pukey the Clown days? Do you know Pukey the
No,
Clown?
I don't know Pukey.
So I've been following CrossFit for a long time,
okay.
like when it first came out, because I work with military, and it was a lot of military guys would put in the WOD, the workout of the day, and that's where we get all those names and so forth. And they had a mascot, and it was Pukey the Clown, because some of the workouts would make you puke.
Oh,
but it was
Yeah, that's awful.
Anyway,
There's
I never
yeah.
puked
sorry,
working out.
but then when Reebok bought them, it got very glamorized and a little more slick.
Yeah, packaged it a little differently.
Yeah, it's very slick,
Well,
very
it's pretty
nice
trendy right
outfits
now,
and things.
but I think what you're saying is just some movement,
Yeah.
right? We want to be at some point under resistance,
Right.
right? Resistance training, but does it matter as long as you're doing something?
As long as you're doing something. So if there's a hierarchy, here's what it is for me in my book, just for general health, well-being for everyone. You guys, because you are tactical athletes, right? You guys are out there doing the work. I think it has to be a different level, and we could talk about how that shows up in a second. But move every day. Don't sit for extended periods of time, and if you can, do a little walk. And if you can do a walk after you eat, for example, great time to walk because your body prioritizes glucose after you eat for an energy source. If you're spiking your blood sugar, your body will actually process it out and you don't get the inflammatory response and then storing of excess calories that you have. Does that make sense? So it's a great technique. Second, at least twice a week, you need to light it up. You need to do something that lift heavy things. And that could be your
twice
body.
a week, guys. Okay, good. So
At least twice a week, 2 to 3 times for you guys. I'd say 2 to 4 times at least, where you're lighting
heavy
it up.
weights.
Short, and heavy can we can call heavy either heavy itself or intense.
Yeah. I was gonna
Like
say, that could be
CrossFit
pretty
has,
subjective.
it could be lightweight,
Yeah.
but the repetitions, right? They're a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And what it's doing is challenging your muscles. You're making them suffer, and when they suffer, they get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do that at least twice a week. And then I like throwing in something that we call sprinting. Yeah. And sprinting could be fast bodyweight squats. It could be getting on an exercise bike and doing intervals. It could be literal sprinting if you want, like up a hill, short, 10 seconds or shorter.
Okay.
Because there are very specific energy systems you're trying to trigger here. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so if you have that, so move every day, lift 2 to 4 times. And lifting can be short, 15 minutes. Most of my workouts are push-up, pull-it, squat.
Yeah.
Like and I just do little cycles of that.
I was going to ask you that. What if
Yeah.
it's somebody that says, "Well, I can't even afford a gym membership"?
You don't
need a gym membership. That's an excuse. You know,
Yeah.
we have excuses, like piles of excuses why we're not going to do it. Just do it. Just get after it. And you have a body, it's heavy, you can move it in space, and that's translatable, right? It's going to show up in your work. And so that's why compound movements. Why are compound movements powerful? Because you're getting a lot more muscle mass involved, and it's
Right.
having to coordinate
Right.
movement. That's what we use in the real world. You're
Right.
picking up something heavy, you're grabbing somebody and dragging them out. That's a compound movement.
Yeah.
I mean, you're using your whole body.
Give me this. So, because what I'm trying to do is encourage people, but we want the payoff.
Yeah.
So, for the guy that he's listening to you now, and he's saying, "Okay, I'll do all that," but because a lot of reasons people want to get in shape is for social reasons, right? We want to
Sure.
look better and we want to
Great.
attract whatever. But what are some other benefits? How's that translating to my life?
That's just like working out?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's like an overall just general well-being or sense of well-being.
Yeah.
You're more confident, you're more productive. Everything else that you're involved in tends to flow better. Not that it's going to be easier, but like if you're in a slump, you're not eating right, you're not working out, waking up to go to work is going to be more difficult. Getting yourself ready to go do activities is going to be more difficult. That the sense of working out, it really does put your mental space in a good, healthy place.
So, like an overall
100%.
improvement
Yes.
of everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's biological, it's
Yeah.
psychological, right? It's 100%. When this feels good,
Yeah.
you feel good. Things are easier.
Yes.
It's not
Right.
just about dating or attracting someone. That's what I'm really getting at. Is that
No.
you may have some people in their headspace and they say, "You know what? I don't care. I live my life. I do my thing. I don't care." So what we're trying to show is the benefits. Like this is an actual improvement
Yeah.
of your entire life.
Absolutely.
I think deep down, and this is just personal opinion, but if I get somebody that comes to me and says, "I don't care. I don't care about what I eat. I don't care if I exercise. I don't care," that's troublesome. I think there are
lot of
That's
deeper,
a different thing.
Well, a lot of
those
people
are
in that
deeper seated
space.
issue that like we've got. There's a lot of barriers that you're going to have to personally break down before we can even get to.
Could
the
that be
idea.
hormonal though? Is this a guy that
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
"Oh, I felt that way because my T
I
was
mean,
low."
your
Testosterone.
hormones could be off. Your neurotransmitters could be off. Like your serotonin and dopamine levels could be shot, and you just feel like crap. Deep down, you probably do care. When you're having conversations, no one's like, "Yeah, I'm okay with being okay."
Yeah.
No one looks in the mirror and goes, "I'm just okay today."
And I'm okay with
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's not what we're striving for. Nor I don't think that's what we're supposed to strive for.
But AJ, I always, part of my job here is to kind of play devil's advocate.
Sure.
And so, even that word striving, man, some people don't have it in them. That is a lot to just show up. Striving is this is a conscious thing. It's deliberate.
It is.
Some people are just existing.
Int-
And
intentional.
I guess what I'm trying to do is like, you guys are high achievers, and sometimes there's an assumption that everybody's operating at that level. I'm trying to reach to the person that right now it's everything just to get out of bed.
Yeah. And so I think AJ nailed it, though, that something else is going on. When you feel like
Yeah.
that, when you feel that low, something else is going on. Now, all these lifestyle behaviors can inform that and help that and raise that level, but I think people get used to just feeling mediocre and think that's okay, and then they lose motivation, they lose energy. And we were talking about know what your values are, because that helps with our motivation. And I think that's critical. What's
What do you mean?
important
What
in
do
your
you mean?
life?
Break that down.
All right. So we all have things that are important, areas of our life that are important. Like what are areas in your life that are
Well,
important?
for me, it would be family's important.
There you go.
I don't want to say my job, my career, but my contribution,
Yeah.
right? Being productive, what I'm doing, what I'm trying to build is important. We touched on this last time, but I think spirituality just internally, what am I a good person? Am I a valuable person to myself? All those things. Those would be my values or what's important
Cool.
to me.
Perfect. There you go. That's exactly it. So these things are your values, your family, your contribution to life,
Yes.
your why. Why are we here? I think every human is hardwired to kind of answer that question.
my
Why am
why?
I here? Yeah,
Exactly.
what's my why? The problem is we live in a modern world where there's so much stuff that can get in there that doesn't matter, right? Instagram strolling, or whatever, all that kind of stuff, just BS that gets in there. Right? But if we stay close to our why, then that motivates us to take care of it. So I have people do an exercise called be ruthless with what does not matter. And it comes from the Stoic philosophy, which I think I threw out before. The father of Stoicism is Seneca. This guy lived 2,000 years ago. Great thinker. And he observed that, hey, if you're not ruthless with things that don't matter, this is 2,000 years ago, you will spend your time and energy on things that don't matter. And you'll come to the end of your life and you will have regrets because you will have realized I wasted all that time, because you're not getting your time back. And it's probably the most valuable thing that we have because it's passing. And so he said the way to live a life, they called it a life of virtue. A life of virtue meant a connected life, a life that had purpose for the individual.
Yes.
And they didn't say what, other than in service to man. They believed that that's our purpose, is to be here to serve each other and ourselves. So what they said is know what you value. And that's, if your family is what you value, then live in a way that takes care of your family through your actions, through what you do. If your health is important to you, then take care of that. Because if you're sitting there drinking sodas and eating crap, then you're not honoring your value and you're going to feel crappy. Not only because of what you're doing, but because in the back of your mind, you're not honoring what you say is important to you. So I have people actually write down the 5 areas of your life that are most important, then evaluate that. Are you honoring it through your day-to-day actions?
And guys, if you're watching this, maybe we should do that now as we talk about this. Write down your 5 values and we can start applying some
And
of
these
this.
can change too. Know that it's flexible, but as long
There
as
should be
you're
a
there,
constant reevaluation.
Absolutely. Let's
Yeah.
say you don't have
Constant
kids and all of a sudden you have kids. Well, that's probably going to go up on the list as
Sure.
something that's important to you.
So
And
as
then-
you evolve, the list might,
absolutely.
As you evolve, the list should evolve.
should evolve.
Yeah.
If you're living a virtuous life, it should.
And,
Right?
and it all comes back to intentional living.
Yeah.
like Jose said, like everything that we do, be intentional about what you're doing. If you're not intentional, you'll fail at it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So absolutely, you have to have goals that are clear.
And
right?
obtainable.
And attainable.
Make
You're
them
right,
obtainable.
and attainable. And you can do that. And then what I have people do is then on a scale of 1 to 5, evaluate for yourself. This is not about shame or telling yourself you're doing it wrong. It's like just sit back. Hey, if your health is important, I haven't evaluated. So if it's give it a 1 to a 5 scale. A 1 means you're not taking care of it. 5, you're killing it. And if it's a 3, what's one thing that you can do today to honor what you said you value?
And it's the ruthless elimination of
Sorry, go ahead, Adrian.
ruthless elimination of
What does not matter?
what does not matter. And it
To
was
you.
Seneca.
Yeah,
that-
Seneca.
Have you heard of John Mark Comer?
That
He's
sounds
a-
somewhat familiar.
He's a pastor.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, out of Portland. He wrote a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
There you go.
And it literally, he has you rate what is most important to you.
Yeah,
And then if it doesn't make the top 5, you get rid of it.
get rid of it.
And
So just to-
intentionally-
Or don't give it a lot of
So I
attention.
wrote
Right,
the
give
list,
it a little.
and you said
Yeah.
put it on a scale of
Yeah, 1 to 5.
my-
5.
and how do I score it?
So 1 means I'm not taking care of it
Okay.
the way I should.
Yeah.
5 is I'm really doing a good job.
Okay, so
and,
that's a good exercise. So write them down, then you're going to score it 1 to 5. I like that.
and then pick one thing that you can change, because action is what changes everything.
Yeah.
Right? Thinking is great, but action matters. So same with the workout. You're thinking about working out, great. Do it.
Do it.
Just now, do it. Get after it. The time that you spend just thinking about it, so you could have done 5
Oh, yeah,
workouts,
yeah.
right?
I say that all the time.
But
Same
that's true
thing.
for so many things.
Everything.
I want to start
You
this
nailed
business.
it.
I've been talking about
Nailed
this
it.
business for 20 years. I have friends like that.
So when we live like this, then
Yes.
everything starts getting more exciting.
See, I
and
like
that's
that.
where we reconnect with the energy of life, that why. Because when you know why, then what you do has more meaning. And that's the
Say that
Jedi
again.
mind
Wait.
trick.
Say that again.
Yeah, and this
When you
is
have your
Simon-
why.
Yeah, when you know why, what you do has more meaning. Right? The purpose behind it. And
Yeah.
intentional living.
Intentional living.
You nailed it. That's something that we've lost, I think, culturally, and we get into the slump of living our busy, crazy lives that we're trying to keep on the road, right? And stress is going to happen. And that's why getting your mind straight is so important, because then it helps you reevaluate. And then after that exercise, I have people actually write called a vision board or an action board. And I have them do a visual representation of those 5 areas, like what they want.
Like a photo.
Like a photo, or I have them cut out pieces of paper, something, and then I have them put it someplace that they can see it regularly, so that you keep reminding yourself, hey, this is why. This is why I'm showing up every day. And it keeps you motivated.
Yeah.
All right.
And that takes work, because motivation
That-
wanes, man. It
yeah.
goes up and down. Some days you wake up, I'm charged up, I'm ready to
And
kick
I don't
ass.
think we could say it enough. Again, even everything Jose is having his clients do is all intentional. Sit
Super
down.
intentional.
Yes, sit down, figure out priorities, vision board, put it somewhere you can see it. Every day you intentionally get up, look at the board, figure out what you got to do today to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
And it'll all fall into place.
And one of the best things you can do is train it.
Train,
You can
yeah.
train all these things. And so what I have 100% of people do is have a morning routine, something that they do when they wake up first thing. There's a great book called Stealing Fire, and then Tools of Titans, another good book.
Stealing Fire, Tools of Titans.
Yeah, Tools of Titans. So Stealing Fire was written by Stephen Kotler. And he's a journalist, but like a performance scientist, really, is what I think he is. And he went out and interviewed 500 top performers from Elon Musk, Navy SEALs, a bunch of fire rescue, elite people just knocking it out of the park. And he wanted to know, what do they do so that we can learn from them? And 80% of them meditated. The other 20% did something like prayer, wrote down stuff. That's one of the first things they do when they wake up. They don't touch their phones. First thing in the morning, they don't pick up their little device and get distracted. They actually use that time to aim their day. They do meditation, they do gratitude practice. So that seems kind of esoteric and out there, but guess what? If we don't remind ourselves of all the good stuff around us, we're going to focus on the negative. We're going to get down and negative. And they've studied gratitude as a mindset, like tons of research. Just that alone would be one of the things I'd say you could do right away.
Yeah.
Wake up, remind yourself, Like, gosh, I'm glad I woke up today, or
Yeah.
I'm thankful for my family, or I have a place to go and work and do stuff.
Definitely.
It changes you. And when you practice these skills, they get stronger and it touches every aspect of your life. So I have everybody start their day that way. Instead of like chasing their day, they're aiming their day. Yeah.
Chasing as opposed to aiming. Yeah. And you know, AJ, you brought up a really good point. You took me back to, a guy working 48, not feeling great, right? All this stuff going on in my mind, and I'm just at work, I'm existing, running one call after the next. It's like being a roofer. There's no end, right? After that roof, guess what?
There's another one.
You get another roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, when you're running these calls. And so while we're at the station, we're going to be working out.
Okay.
We're going to try to improve our diet, right?
Yeah.
Sleep.
Sleep.
This is a big one. Because if you're doing shift work, you're working at night, or we're running calls, we're working 48s, there's no way out of that. Like, we can't change that.
No.
So how does a person, like when I was still, back on the rescue running calls, I wouldn't sleep at the station. I'd always
At
have
all?
this low, no, even if my eyes were closed, I would have this low level of kind of anxiousness and anxiety.
Like the anticipation of the next
Call
call.
anticipation,
Yeah.
waiting on that next call. The sleep would be horrible. If you could sleep, because depending on where you work, you might be up all night.
Yeah.
Get off, go home. Sometimes I'd have a drink, thinking that would knock me out. And pass out for a few hours, but wake up feeling
Like crap.
Even more.
even worse.
More now, yeah.
Garbage.
Like I didn't rest.
'Cause
3,
you
4
did
days. I didn't rest.
'Cause you
3,
didn't
4
rest.
days goes by.
Yeah.
The night before I go back on shift, I don't sleep much because I have that anxiety again.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this cycle over a while, I'm always tired. So how would somebody improve their sleep when you still have to go to work?
All right, so I've got some thoughts on this one. So first thing, because you set it up perfectly, the anticipatory response, that's where anxiety actually lives, is trying to predict what's about to happen, right? You're waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
Very normal human kind of mindset. You can calm that down using meditative techniques. You can use mindfulness techniques, because the key is bring yourself back to right here, right now, so that you're not thinking into the future. And if you can bring that down, you're going to have less of the anxiety that's going to disrupt your sleep and so forth.
And that's easy to say.
It is.
But how do you do it?
So you do it with a regular practice,
Yeah.
with
Okay.
regular push-ups for your mind.
Yeah.
And like I said, having a morning practice of some sort can help you with that. And so
Well,
it starts
can
strengthening.
you,
mind.
can I try
Let's
that
do it
out
right now. Here, I'm going to...
So help me. So let's say it's the night before I'm going back on shift. I'm restless, and I keep looking at the clock. It's 10 o'clock. Oh, I need to go to sleep. 11 o'clock, I need to go to sleep. What do I do?
Okay. First thing, set an alarm.
Okay.
That way you can put that to rest. You're not going to oversleep. You're not going to miss your time, right?
Okay.
So that takes that off the table. Your brain doesn't have to think about that, because that's sometimes what happens.
Yes.
Right? It's like, wait, did I miss it?
Yes.
Oh, no. Have something that's going to wake you up.
All right.
Okay. Then do what we're going to do right now. So get comfortable in your bodies
Okay.
right now. Comfort in your body.
Get comfortable.
And I want you to take 5 deep breaths into your belly, in through your nose, out through your mouth, real deep. And try to notice the physical sensation of breathing. Just notice the breath. Notice your body relaxing with each breath out. Try to relax. Drop your shoulders. Like if you're in bed, relax your feet, relax your legs, relax your chest, relax your hands, relax your face. Just 5 deep breaths. In,
Are you doing this with me, AJ?
Oh, I'm doing it.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Relaxed.
Relax. Okay, so
Relaxed.
you created that
Yeah.
physical sensation of relaxing. Now, imagine you did that every day. You practice that technique every day. Guess what? That's going to get stronger, so that when you notice that, oh, I'm starting to get a little anxious, I can calm my body, and you can bring yourself back to right here. Right here, I can rest. Right here, I can close my eyes. I can allow my body to calm down instead of getting into the thinking and the anticipatory response. Now, night before going on shift, you can do that. In shift, you can do that.
Yeah.
Between, it's resetting your foundation. We were talking about being grounded. That's grounding you. It's bringing you back. When we're anxious, it feels like the roots got pulled up. Think of your brain as the roots, right? And when your roots are planted, you can be flexible up here, right? When you get knocked around, you get pushed around by a call or whatever it is, or your wife, and it's like the plumbing blew up or whatever, you know. I can't deal with that right now. I got to be right here, right now. Right? Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and I hope that's going to be helpful for us. And I'm picturing that, like, yeah, you come back, on a fire call, adrenaline's way up here, get back to the station, shower, try to go to bed,
Yeah.
wide awake.
And this technique that thing that you did, just 5 breaths. So Stanford University published a great study in 2019, showed 5 deep breaths lowers respiration, heart rate, adrenaline, cortisol. Those are biological mechanisms that you're actually triggering yourself, and you're bringing them down.
Yeah.
Right. So you come off a call, of course you're going to be jacked up. So what can you do? Do some of the breathing. It's actually going to help your body, the parasympathetic part of your autonomic nervous system, to get rid of all those chemicals that you produced, and your kidneys are going to process them out, and you're going to pee them out, right? So it literally is triggering a known biological mechanism so that you're harnessing your biology to work for you and not against you. Because if not, you're just going to be triggered. You're going to be up, and you're going to be waiting for the next call. Well, right then, if you can, calm. Get down. You can do a workout, maybe if that's the right time of the day to
Now,
do it.
will it affect me? Because I get off that fire call, and then I go and slap my can, throw in a big old dip. Is that gonna?
That's gonna jack you up.
Well, yeah, that's gonna.
I'm just putting it out there because
yes.
people don't think that, is that gonna also affect
Sure.
my sleep?
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Nicotine's
Yes.
going to affect your sleep because it's a stimulant.
Yeah.
Now, it could be applied in a way
People
that's
think it's
helpful.
gonna relax me.
A lot of
Oh man, I need a dip.
a lot of what is relaxing about smoking or dipping is the muscle memory.
Yes.
It has been associated
Yes.
with, for that person, that dip has been associated with a calming effect,
Yeah.
right? But physiologically isn't calming to you.
Yeah.
That's a great distinction.
But it's a coping mechanism because you're like, I'm stressed out, I'll throw a dip in.
What about even after you eat? Like, I used to want one as soon as I eat. Next thing,
It's a habit.
It's a
It becomes a habit, and that's why your brain triggers it.
right.
Yeah, we love patterns. We love
Yeah.
habit. Your brain wants to run off of patterns
Yeah.
called the default mode network. We have to automate so much in our everyday lives. And we're automating things unconsciously that may not be beneficial for us.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Love you
because
say
we'd be overwhelmed if think about first time you drove a car on the freeway as a new driver. You're hyper vigilant, right?
yeah.
The truck goes by you.
You notice
you're like,
everything. Yeah.
5 years later, it's like you're not even thinking anymore.
Yeah.
We've automated that response, but
Yeah.
we do that to everything. Like,
Right.
so make sure that's called training, right? Training patterns. You guys, in the training you do here, you're trying to automate everything that you know,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
why these
absolutely.
guys train for a year before you let them out on the loose, right?
Yeah.
And still supervised. But the goal is that their training is so automatic. The thing is, when you're not living intentionally, we are training stuff that isn't beneficial to us
Yeah.
all the time. And so if we have intention, we're focusing on the right stuff, then our training is purposeful and we're doing things that are beneficial for us. And that's the big part of intentional
Now,
living.
is that part of sleep hygiene? What you guys
Sure.
are talking about?
Yeah, that can be part of sleep hygiene.
What is sleep hygiene? I've heard this term. What is it?
Yeah, so sleep hygiene is the term that's used for just things that you can do to make sure that it's like any other kind of hygiene. You're taking care of your sleep. That means trying to get to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time.
So
Have a
you know,
dark
that schedule,
room.
the routine. Okay.
Yeah, have a dark room. This is the sleep hygiene for everybody. It doesn't matter who you talk to, whatever sleep expert. It's the same sleep hygiene. So it's a good, comfortable environment to sleep in. Dark. So if you can't have a dark room, get a little eye mask. I have an eye mask. That's what I use, and I just put that on every night. I've gotten into lately nose breathing. So I put a little piece of tape over my mouth so I'm not mouth breathing, which can lead to snoring and sleep apnea. They make mouth guards now that you can just pop in, and it actually helps you breathe through your nose. And that is huge, actually, for good quality sleep. That's why sleep apnea issues are so big for people. It disrupts, it doesn't let you go into deep sleep. Don't get in front of a screen, right? Bright light.
So
It's not
TV's
just
off.
blue light, TV's off,
They-
that kind
I
of
don't
stuff.
even have
Yeah,
one there.
I'm pretty sure it's like blue light should be limited. Like you shouldn't be exposed to blue light 30 minutes. I want to say it's 30 minutes or an hour before
2 hours.
Is it
would
2 hours?
be ideal.
Okay. There you
But
go.
if you can do whatever, so that you're not getting that light.
Well,
And you
most
can,
people have the screen in bed.
Oh, yeah.
You're scrolling, and then
Imagine you'd leave your phone in a different room. Or I actually bought one of the wireless chargers, and it's on my dresser. So when I walk in, I put my phone on my dresser,
There you go.
and I go lay down on my bed.
Yeah.
Phone's up for the night.
phone's over there.
And it goes back to what you were talking about, habit, that your
Yeah.
body actually associates something, right? So when we are in bed with our device or doing work in bed, now your body's associating bed with that.
Bed
So
with work.
every sleep expert is going to tell you bed is for sleep and sex. That's what you should leave it for, right? Don't do your work in bed.
Yeah.
Don't have a TV there. Don't get entertained.
What about
you
eating
get into
crackers
bed.
in bed?
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't eat crackers in bed.
So get out of
That'd be
bed
messy.
and eat your crackers, then get back into bed.
All right.
Like even if you can't fall asleep within 20 minutes, that's part of sleep hygiene. Get up.
Get up.
Don't start training your brain to think that I'm going to sit here and like fuss and struggle. Do something
If you
boring.
can't sleep, get up.
Yeah, if you can't sleep, 20 minutes. Give it 20 minutes. If you're not falling asleep, get up, do something boring. That could be like reading something or whatever. Something simple.
I
You
like
could
that.
listen to a little music. You could do a little meditation and then get back into bed. Do
There's-
5-10 minutes, get
Yeah,
back into
and
bed.
there's a lot of science specifically that I came across reading before bed, and what it does neurologically for you
Yeah.
is amazing.
It is amazing.
So
That's a great habit
yeah.
actually to have, is to read for 5-10 minutes every night.
Definitely puts me to sleep every time.
There you go.
What about temperature control?
Yeah,
That's
keep
a
it
big
cool.
one, yeah.
Your body needs to drop about 3 degrees to fall asleep.
and
So keep your room a little cooler if you
it's
can.
like 65 degrees ambient, right? Is
Yeah,
is like
around there.
What
That's
they
the number.
recommend.
65. So
Yeah, if you can tolerate.
So dark room,
Yeah,
a cool room.
Yeah.
Now at the station, you can somewhat control that, but it's not always up
you
to
can control most stations are ice
Pretty cold,
boxes, man.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you have your cozy blankie.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you have a nice cool environment, it feels pretty good.
Yeah,
Rooms are like, we got pretty good sleep hygiene at the station, I think.
I think so. Most of our rooms are cool, and they
Dark.
do a really good job of blacking the rooms out.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
use that to your advantage. Here's the last one. This is a big one, new to sleep hygiene, and these are more the leading people. Like we talked about Huberman. Were we talking about Huberman?
I think so.
Andrew,
The
yeah.
Huberman podcast.
yeah.
Andrew Huberman. Yeah, he's a neuroscientist. He's an ophthalmologist, actually. Technically, what
Is
his
he
training
really?
is on the eyes, but the eyes are part of the brain. And so he got into neuroscience, and there's a lot of neuroscience with the eyes and the brain and behavior and all this stuff. But one of the best things that we're finding right now from the science side is get sunlight on you.
Yeah,
When you wake up, the moment you wake up, go outside and get some indirect sun into your eyes. It actually helps set your sleep hormones. And then when the sun's going down, get a little bit of that sun. So and again, on a 48, that's hard.
yeah.
But one thing that you can do is the second you wake up, if it's daylight, make sure that you're getting a little sunshine on you without sunglasses on. Not staring at the sun, but just getting
Yeah.
indirect light on your eyes. Yeah.
Don't stare at the sun.
Any bright light, sun specifically, is going to
Yeah.
burn out your eyes.
Yeah, don't do that.
But it's even less blue light. It's more bright light is what they're seeing. They
Okay.
just happen to, in the studies that made blue light so popular, is that they were actually dissecting eyes and pulling out the photosensors that were involved with blue light. And they weren't looking at all the
light.
sensors
Oh,
now. So
okay.
they're really thinking it's bright. And then have kind of mild lights on before you're going to sleep. And you can use red light, you can use firelight, you can use candles. Those don't disrupt sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like incandescent, obviously.
These
Well,
are
yeah,
good.
these
Yeah,
are
I mean,
invasive.
these are really stimulating
Yeah.
light. And for somebody that's on call, it actually would be great to look at a bright light, even if it's nighttime, to wake yourself up. That's going to do more to wake you up than popping a
Well, I
dip
think
in or
it's in-
slamming coffee.
But I think in certain systems, the lights automatically come on.
Okay, there you go.
We don't do that here, but I know there are systems that have that.